Hello, and welcome back to Automation Realized second day. I hope you had an insightful afternoon yesterday and enjoyed the event. Despite some technical challenges, we had great conversations, a lot of insights from our speakers, in order to bring new perspectives to inspire you in the automation journey. I want to kick off today's conversations with some of the ideas from the previous sessions to connect with the topics you will be hearing today. From Mary Hallward-Dreimer from World Bank and Beatrice Sanchez, UI Global Data and Analytics Leader, we heard about the impact of automation and AI on world economies, and how supporting the investments and spread of digitalization needs to be carefully balanced with adequate policies that protect citizens and build trust in technology in order to sustain growth. Also, that the education is one of the main pillars to realize the digital ambitions of our society, and how changing the mindset is a must for leadership. We then had Neil Ward-Dutton from IDC, who shared a comprehensive analysis of the current automation trends, and among many insights, that intelligent process automation technologies can play a role in digital transformation, both in the incremental approach, wrapping up the old system and ways, but also in the transformational approach, reinvent systems and then move data from old to new. He also talked about the strategic approach to automation, the citizens' development, and shift beyond control authority of COEs as some of the key themes that we see in the current context. We then had the representatives of the three automation leaders. We had Boris Kramry from UiPath sharing with us an end-to-end view of how an automation can scale up and how technology can support all steps for scaling up. Then we had Peter Walker from Blue Prism explaining the strategic approach to automations and the outside-in design approach in order to achieve the desired objectives. And Paul Donaldson from Automation Anywhere presented practical examples and shared experience on how to drive large-scale adoption. At the end of the day, yesterday we had two panels in parallel on how to start thinking about automation of customer operations in an integrated manner that enables the customer strategy. Where Enrique, my colleague from Spain, has shared ideas and debated topics with Martin Stevenson from Blue Prism and Ioan Șandru from ION. In parallel, we had another panel on adapting ideas from various backgrounds when designing change experience for the organization. A panel moderated by Horatiu Cocheci from UI Romania, with panelists from Renault, Simona Popovici, Gabi Mocanu from Banca Transilvania, and co-founder of multiple startups, Andrei Crețu. You can see already all the recordings on LinkedIn for those who want to revisit them. We have an exciting day ahead of us, where we want to explore some more ideas to inspire you. We will continue the journey with the automation perspective from the tech giants, IBM, Microsoft, and SAP, as we would like to explore their own automation capabilities enhanced with the recent RPA acquisitions. We will then have demos during the breaks and two live panels in parallel to hear practical examples from different organizations. At the end of the day, we have a very interesting panel with two professors and an entrepreneur to debate how education, art, and technology are working together to help us reimagine the future. I hope you collected some codes from yesterday and will catch some more today, as well to get the opportunity to be part of the automation raffle while also learning new things. So, let's start with IBM. Joining us live from Miami, Arvind will introduce us into IBM's automation vision. He focuses on developing digital transformation strategy for IBM prospects and customers from a technical and business perspective. With his experience in automation and cognitive solutions, Arvind is an IBM certified thought leader. Good morning, Arvind. We are ready to hear from you.
Good morning. Thanks for the introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. And it's good morning from my side. So before we start, this is our disclaimer note, all the good stuff here. So let's look at our hybrid cloud platform, right? So this is the platform that enables us to include AI with automation, or the so-called hyper automation journey. The key point that we meant to emphasize here is that we provide a platform that integrates traditional IT with a combination of public, private, or managed cloud services in a hybrid environment as needed. What we also provide as part of our platform is a complete and well-integrated automation capability that is powered by real-time insights and AI with machine learning. So the key behaviors of a platform that lets our clients enable hyperautomation are as follows. In order to predict the outcome, data from all our capabilities, and we will actually discuss all our capabilities in detail, our hybrid platform is a complete solution. So in order to predict the outcome, the data can be collected, organized, and analyzed. The automation pillars lets the solution learn, detect, decide, and act on the data which are collected from the capabilities. All the pillars are secured and protected to work on any form factor. This is important, right? So we offer on our deployment on cloud. It could be private, it could be public, or it could be on premises. And we also offer a SaaS platform. So clearly the form factors are enormous, and a client can choose to deploy on any form factor, and using the hybrid approach, we can integrate all of them together. So our overall vision for hyperautomation can be broadly divided into three key elements. Our vision deals with digitizing work, applying intelligence, and supplementing the workforce with RPA and digital workers. Now, this has been our vision for some time now. And it was nice to have Gartner come out and say that, yes, we agree with you. So you will actually, I mean, I've not included those papers in the interest of time, but you should be able to download our solution view from the demo booth that has links that actually point to the research from Forrester as well as Gartner about the hyperautomation vision. So let's look at the components of IBM hyperautomation. I will touch upon them quickly in the subsequent slides. But as I just said, please feel free to download the solution view from our demo booth to drill down into the details. So the core automation enables companies to scan or digitize documents, including documents on paper, so that they are not dependent on being in the same building as a room full of cabinets. Manage work. Now, this is typically about workflows, but we support both structured as well as unstructured workflows, meaning we support processes as well as cases. We can build low-code applications that use these automation capabilities using a unified view across all of them. And we provide real-time monitoring and reporting on all these applications so that they can understand the outcome and continually improve. So this is where AI comes in. Now, by adding AI and machine learning, you can understand unstructured documents without needing to know the format of the documents in advance. So this is something that we included as part of our core automation capture solution. And this saves a lot of time, that we'll see in the subsequent slide. We can prioritize the tasks that workers perform using machine learning to match the right people to the task they are best at. So this is, again, part of our workflow where the task can be prioritized based on who's best at a particular task. In terms of predictive decisions, we can combine business rules with predictive analytics. So once again, we have descriptive business rules that one can define using low-code tooling. On top of that, we can add predictive analysis that basically gives the human more confidence in extracting the score as well as deciding on the policies. We also use intelligent chatbots to put a conversational interface in front of automation And the data generated by all these capabilities assists us in gaining unique insights into how to make your automation more effective. And lastly, by adding robotic process automation to core automation and AI, you can perform repetitive tasks to free up employees' time. You can combine RPA with intelligent chatbots so you can ingest unstructured documents and act on the data. And you can make automation even more accessible with targeted purpose-built chatbots that are directly connected to the automation. So now that we have looked at the key hyperautomation elements, let's dive a bit deeper into what we offer as part of our intelligent automation platform. So a platform is called Cloud Pak for Automation. It's modular, integrated, and it lets you start wherever you need automation and scale as you realize the benefits and your needs grow. At the center of this Cloud Pak are intelligent automation capabilities, or so-called pillars. They include capture, content, workflow, decisions, and tasks. So some key highlights are our platform contains a complete offering for the business automation. They're modular and they're pre-integrated. The capabilities offer data capture and document management. They offer content services for collecting, governing, managing, and enriching enterprise content. We offer the full spectrum of workflow, both structured and unstructured. We have digital decisioning to make policies, and we have our own RPA in-house that's used for task or workflow automation. And more importantly, all these capabilities are infused with analytics, machine learning, and AI. At a platform and capability level, we also support the ability for solution development using low code and no code tooling. Lastly, we support various form factors for deployment. As I mentioned, it can be on any cloud. It could be public or private or on premises, and they can all work together in a hybrid way. In terms of governance, we have a framework that contains a set of policies, processes, and standards across the platform to ensure compliance with industry, as well as different geolocations. So in a nutshell, we have a platform that contains all the offerings. Every offering within the platform is infused with analytics and machine learning, and they can be deployed on multiple form factors. So very quickly, let me just drill down into the individual elements. So in terms of capture and digitizing content, we have refocused our strategy towards using intelligent content services. So this shifts the focus away from just storing and archiving content in a repository to how content is being used by individuals and teams. We have tech that we built, tech that we acquired, and tech we OEM to fulfill the various aspects of capture. But having done that, we now cover the entire spectrum. So what are some of the challenges that we solved? For example, our ability to handle extremely large amount of document variations or so-called document classes that needs to be classified, or let's say the data needs to be extracted, that's part of it. Our ability to handle millions of documents in real time has been achieved. So clearly this is optimized for client use, and we have several thousand clients who have been using our core automation products since a long time. In terms of managing work, this is all about orchestrating people and systems. Our offering provides orchestration of both structured processes called workflows, unstructured processes called case management, and they can be used together as part of a single platform. In terms of automate decisions, this is again all about enacting policies, extracting business logic that is embedded in applications. This again is offered as part of our decision management tech. And once again, just to reiterate, everything is all pre-integrated. So decisions, once you build decisions, they can go and communicate with RPA. If they want to invoke an action, they can derive some value from the task and the workflow and so on. Everything is pre-integrated. Now, low code. Now, this is pretty important because there is a tremendous push from personas who are sometimes called citizen developers or shared service developers or business analysts to be able to develop without queuing up for IT to build it for them. So our automation development environment supports a tech called as Automation Studio. This supports both professional developers as well as the citizen developers or business analysts with low code and no code development needs. So clearly, by providing low code tooling, we can improve the overall participation across the entire client space. And they all share the same application repository and related components, no matter what tooling they choose. In terms of monitoring and reporting, so this is a key capability that can monitor and report on operational data collected from all the pillars. So interestingly, all the pillars needed for business automation, workflow, decisions, content capture, etc., they are able to emit events in real time. And also, we are able to correlate the events in real time and gather business decision based on that. And most importantly, much of this is built using open source tooling like Kafka, Elasticsearch, and Kibana. Much of what we offer is not proprietary, it's all open source. So lastly, core automation is all about digitizing the business. So now that we have looked at core automation, let's quickly dig deeper into how AI and machine learning is embedded in or integrated with these core automation capabilities. So in a nutshell, it's all about infusing, rebasing, extending all digitized content and capabilities in core automation. So our core functionality of capture solutions have been extended by applying deep learning to classify and extract contents from documents. So this is all about incredibly complex and detailed algorithms that sit underneath our capture capabilities. They have been trained on different corpus of information, for example, invoices, lending documents, handwritten notes, government ID, and passport, and so on. They also provide learning to improve the extraction rate as you encounter different classes of documents. The algorithms and the platform has been optimized to significantly improve the classification rates, and we provide higher extraction rates than some of our competitors. It's ideal in situation where the customer is trying to capture data from forms, but has an unlimited variety of formats, and in many cases, questionable quality of docs. So that's where we do pretty well. And in fact, our tech, which is called DataCap, it's been in the market for like 30 years, and we have one of the largest customer base in terms of using capture solutions. In terms of prioritized tasks, so we offer this new functionality that uses intelligent task prioritization for workflows. This helps maximize an organization's productivity by automatically prioritizing tasks in a way that results in the best overall performance for your team. Here it uses history from the operational data collected and machine learning to figure out who should be the person who should be receiving the next task. So his behavior is pretty much captured by the system, and analytics and AI is used to determine the next best action for a particular task. With predictive decisions, businesses can combine prescriptive business rules. So we have been in the space like for more than 2 decades now in business rules. But now that we have intelligent business rules, so we can combine prescriptive rules as well as predictive models to improve customer experience and make intelligent operational decisions. Chatbots use our natural language recognition capabilities to make out what the user is asking for. So our intelligent chatbots use advanced intelligence algorithms to determine what the user truly needs to know. So these algorithms use machine learning and deep learning to learn from user interactions to improve the recommendations and responses. So that's the advantage that we have, that the more data we collect, the more our chatbots are able to learn and grow in terms of the recommendations that they provide. And since our platform collects data from all our capabilities in a data lake, the algorithms are able to find patterns in this data and predict an optimal response based on its pattern knowledge base and some human guidance. Lastly, we are able to instrument every capability by the click of a button to store events in a data lake and use that data to apply AI to it. We can handle several million data points in real time and correlate them to derive the kind of prediction that's needed. Now let's talk about a final category, which is the robotic process automation. As we all know, we used to support and work very closely with Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, and UiPath, and we still support them. So clients who have them, we will continue to support them. However, we now have our own tech for RPA called as WDG. So this was a recent acquisition. It allows us to build robots and digital workers, but the way we have structured our tech is pretty interesting. So all our capabilities have been exposed as invocable services. And as I said, they are all pre-integrated. Every capability has services which can be exposed outside, meaning that you can invoke a service that can, let's say, be part of a capture or a content solution. So the robot can go and extract data and then act on the data by invoking a workflow of filling out a form. It can act on the data by invoking a decision. It can act on the data by driving a content action. All the actions happen within the bots, so they become a very smart way of driving work. So in essence, RPA and digital worker is a proxy for the human being. And the advantage that we have is all the capabilities are complete as part of a platform. And now that we have added RPA to the mix, it can basically orchestrate the capabilities together, and we can offer a complete business end-to-end business transaction to the client. So very quickly, and once again, please feel free to download our solution view from the demo booth. But some of the key differentiators that our RPA has, because we have been working with the other RPA vendors too, and we still support them. So we offer the solution as a cloud native SaaS or software as a service application also. Now that's very unique in the industry and will help you get up and running faster and enable the RPA application to easily integrate with other important parts of the solution. Our intelligent chatbot capability is a differentiator that enables conversational interactions with your automation using both text as well as voice. And lastly, but very importantly, we offer concurrent execution. So this is a key differentiator that lets you run multiple workload managed bots on the same virtual host, which can be very important from a cost and a resource perspective. So the question one might be asking is, how do we do that? The reason we can do that is because WDG provides the concept of using semaphores to ensure that the resources are used in such a way as to not to step on each other's toes. So once again, our tech has a key feature, but we continue to provide the others too. So very quickly, for the sake of time, I'll just fly over this. So in this section, if you click gradually, you can see our entire tech in action. So very quickly, refund takes 7 days to complete. Normally, by introducing various tech components, we see that we automate the work, we complete, the completion time goes up, and the straight through processing increases. So clearly, very quickly, let me just describe the scenario. A customer orders a product online. It never showed up. Several days after the order was supposed to have been delivered, she fills out an online form to request a refund. In certain cases, she has to attach a copy of her invoices. In the current process, all refund requested are handled by humans. Therefore, there is no straight-through processing. The goal, to handle 80% of valid refund requests with no human interaction, meaning we would have 80% straight-through processing. So I'm just going to flow through this. So you see, without any kind of automation added, straight-through processing is 0. There's a lot of manual labor, and the completion time is 7 days. We add RPA. So RPA connects to the billing system by replicating the interactions. And all of a sudden, we have decreased the completion time and increased the straight-through processing. Here, we actually use our content tech. So the intelligent document processing finds the customer number and refund amount with an unstructured document. The completion time goes down and straight-through processing increases. We can add chatbots. And once again, this is all available out of the box. You don't have to write any code for any of these functionalities. So here again, we apply machine learning to automatically handle refunds to the text and speech interactions. The completion time goes down and the straight-through processing goes up. And here is where we apply predictive decisions, which is based on AI and machine learning. So we can use this to, let's say, predict the customer propensity to churn, right? So you see the straight-through processing went up, but the overall completion time went down by 80%. So the fact that we offer a complete stack of capabilities, it's very easy to increase the straight-through processing. So in summary, just to recap, hyper-automation is the goal. It is at the top of the mind for most companies. They want customer journey automation, and they want workforce management. From an end customer's point of view, we offer automation to digitize and automate work, then apply AI and machine learning to add intelligence to the automation and supplement the workforce with software, robots, and digital workers to automate and augment your process. So that is hyper automation in one picture. And I would really encourage everyone to please visit our demo booth and download our solution guide. The solution guide contains links to everything that I spoke about, but you will be able to see the demos and everything. And there are also links to learning, wherein you could basically join and attend a lot of webinars and so on. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Arvind, for sharing IBM's vision on hyperautomation. It was very insightful. And also thank you for starting the day with us very early morning there. Thank you.
Thank you.
We now move to Germany, where we have Jens Hansen from Microsoft joining us now. He is EMEA General Manager of Data and AI, and in his role, he's responsible for the growth of the data and artificial intelligence Azure solution business across Europe, Middle East, and Africa. His prior experience includes leadership position at Salesforce and a successful entrepreneurship track record. Jens?
Thank you so much, and hi everyone.
Hi, we are looking forward
to join you here.
Thank you for joining and looking forward to hearing Microsoft's automation vision and capabilities.
Thank you. I will share my screen now. Okay, so in the next 20 minutes, I would like to give you an overview of the Microsoft Power Automate platform. And it's specifically interesting at Microsoft to see how we bring the different clouds and offers that we have across our portfolio together with Power Automate in that world, right? So I think we want to start with kind of like our mission statement here, right? And our mission statement is really around automation should be for everyone, should be for all, right? And it basically is built around the premise of potential. We have a lot in today's business climate, but time is most often the restricting factor, right? So with soaring customer expectations and the speed of business in general, we see greater competition for resources across the board. So I think the level of automation that we can drive in our companies based on solutions like Power Automate, with the full power of the Microsoft platform as a foundation, will be key, to enable customers to get to that next level in terms of efficiency, in terms of how they can respond to business challenges, to new market potential. And so Power Automate is really at the key and at the forefront of all the initiatives at Microsoft to bring multiple clouds in Microsoft across Azure, across Office 365 and Dynamics 365 together. And we also see, working with our customers, that automation delivers immediate results and also lasting results. And the first thing we always look at is cost savings. I mean, obviously, whenever we automate, we want to gain the advantages that automation brings. And typically we see on average, 5 to 10% in the areas of cost savings in the first 18 to 24 months alone. So the return of investment into an automation solution is pretty good, to be honest. And then even on the long-term savings, as long as the more processes we onboard onto the automation platform, we see those savings increase over time. So, 30% savings or more over a period of multiple years is not uncommon to see in our customers. And I think that is a true potential that we all need to harvest. Next to the cost savings, obviously, we also can have an impact on gathering opportunities, right? So in the areas of workforce innovation, we see, based on a study by McKinsey, we see, that at least 60% of the typical activities, can be automated by 30%, which is obviously a big push and a big leverage we all have in our companies. Next to the workforce innovation piece, the productivity that is increasing across the board, in the workforces is quite tremendous at roughly 50%. And that is specifically important in today's climate, business climate, is the faster time to value. So we need to connect the dots between the data points and the different processes that we have, and where automation can bring true value. And then also, I think one big effort in general that we see happening in most of our customers is that we want to make sure we have happy employees, right? Especially in today's world. And so the more productive we can get them, and the more of these mundane tasks we can remove from them, will result in a lot of employee satisfaction, and that will obviously have an impact on the customer satisfaction as well. So along the entirety of all the customer interaction touch points that you might have in your businesses, in sales, in service, in marketing, whenever we can automate, that typically leads to a better customer satisfaction because the experience is just better. And I think customer experience, the expectations there have been, raising quite a lot over the last couple of years, and so automation really delivers that edge, right? That we can serve our customers better through automated processes in the background, and by doing that, also our employees are more engaged, right? Because they have a better framework on how to, serve their customers best. What we really wanted to make sure here at Microsoft is that we sort of democratize the automation piece, right? Because we all know we have pretty complex and heterogeneous environments. And so we really need to empower everyone in that ecosystem to make sure that we can leverage automation. And so it's not just an expert task, right? We need to have a seamless infrastructure that supports the security and the automation piece across RPA and DPA on a single cloud basis to make sure that we can drive that innovation at scale within our companies, right? And so what we're trying to accomplish here is to really span the entirety of it, as in we want to make sure we have a good solution for end users. Also, if there's more coding needed, we need to make sure we cater to the audiences of experienced developers and IT admins, so that Power Automate can really unfold its full potential across the entire organization, because we bring everyone on that journey to drive automation across the board and across business processes in our organizations. And so what does that mean in terms of Power Automate, and how do we think about the primary value that Power Automate brings to it? So automation at scale is one thing that I touched on already, right? So we want to make sure we can efficiently scale automation across the organization, and that applies to the number of processes, the number of business units, and the different set of employees and roles that we have in a typical organization. So that is really key to us. That is not just a professional developer or IT piece here, but that every user across the entire organization plays a part in that automation journey, because it really is an automation. I mean, typically we see customers starting with some high value use cases where automation potential is very high, some of the, if you will, low-hanging fruits. But then over time, as we're trying to scale this out across the organization, it's really key that everyone in the organization can contribute to the automation efforts, right? Security, I mean, in today's world is obviously very key to everything that we do, especially when we connect multiple systems across, multiple clouds. And so we need to make sure that we have a secure environment. We need to ensure compliance, right? We need to make sure that this all happens seamlessly, almost transparent to the users of the platform. And that's a big emphasis at Microsoft across our automation efforts, that we strive to have that platform in place that offers the agility, but also comes with the integrated, and built-in security and compliance and governance, right? At the end of the day, what we want to accomplish, and that's pretty much stating in the office, right? But we want to accelerate productivity. We want to make sure that we can focus our workforces on the more strategic work, right? We want to remove the tasks that can be automated so that they can spend more time on better serving their customers, right? Making sure we expand in sales, that we are not, taking 40, 50% of our time just to work on resolving issues that might be pretty repetitive, right? So I think the spirit of this is around productivity in general, but then, more specifically, we need to build in intelligence into the whole automation game, right? And I think that's where the rubber truly hits the road at the end of the day. Whenever we have multiple systems in one process, and then we put in an intelligence layer on top of it that helps us not just automate decisions, but make smarter decisions. And so with the full power of the Microsoft platform to that end, I think we have a very valuable offering here, as in we cover the data and the artificial intelligence piece of the automation process quite well. And I will show that in a minute, right? So, if we think about the Power Automation platform and what does it mean for Microsoft, you can really, look at these 4 pillars as sort of like our core, strategy. And I said this in the beginning, I think it's very important to understand, and a lot of our customers, have been asking us for over the last couple of years to invest in that area. And we heard them loud and clear, and we made those investments that, especially manifested themselves in everything that is named Power at Microsoft, right? So from Power BI, providing very powerful business analytical capabilities, not just in the terms of in the realm of process automation, but in general across the company. So we have a natural advantage here, because most of our customers are already using Power BI in other disciplines and other areas. And so, bringing that analytics around processes into that platform with Power BI is a true game changer, because you already have, in most cases, a lot of users that can actually use Power BI right now. They know how to do it, right? So that is truly an advantage of the platform, that we have that integrated across popular Microsoft tools like Power BI. The automation aspect of it was Power Automate that typically pulls through some new application development work that needs to happen, to gain that extra 5 to 10% of automation in some processes, right? For the most part, in automation, we connect systems, we automate tasks, but also sometimes we need to build in an extra step. And with the Power Apps platform, we have a low code and no code option to do this, right? So we want to innovate fast, and the Power App system, allows us to do so, and then seamlessly integrate that into the Power Automation. and also expand that in terms of the user interface, if you will, into virtual agents, right? And all of that, bridges basically Office 365, Azure, and Dynamics 365, so that you can implement, seamless automation across processes that typically, use any of those components. As in, typically you might have, a sales process or a service process in Dynamics. Then you need to use some backend capabilities that might live on Azure, and also there's in a lot of processes, some manual work that's been done in Office 365. So bringing that power together, as a foundation, supporting our cloud strategy around Office, Azure, and Dynamics is truly powerful, right? And that especially manifests, if you look at sort of the foundation layer of it, in terms of the data connectors, right? Automation can only be as good as the connection to the data. And these connections to data points, the data that you need to pull in order to make automation real, that can live in a lot of systems, as you guys know, right? So the connector base that we have across the board is a true asset for every customer. And then on top of that data layer, if you will, to build AI on top of it, so bring intelligence to the process with AI Builder seamlessly. Is a very powerful feature, because typically what we see in projects happening for the most part is that customers start embracing automation, and they typically start on that journey with, first of all, Power BI, understanding where do we need the most time in a process, how does that process flow is at the end of the day, and then automate that. But in the first instance, for the most part, this is done just by automating, based on the current systems that you have. In the next level of that, and typically step 2, is to infuse intelligence, to make sure that whenever we respond and in an automated fashion to a customer service request, that we infuse some intelligence, as in might be, a machine learning model that wants to inform us about the risk that this customer attracts, right? And based on the risk that the machine learning model surfaces, we might want to respond differently. We might want to escalate differently. So AI is really the next level then in automation. And all that, has to have the foundation of a common data service, because the number of endpoints and the number of data sources that we need to manage can be, quite difficult if you don't have that, common layer where we bring together the data, the systems, and the artificial intelligence. To also, gain more speed in that process of automating, what we do is we provide more than 275 what we would call connected experiences, and basically that means is that we can seamlessly plug with pre-built connectors, into the systems that most of our customers have, right? So Zendesk would be an example, Adobe, right? And keep in mind, I think the complexity in terms of the number of systems you have to connect during the implementation of automation tools, the number of connectors that you have is truly a game changer, right? Because it just helps you, not just gain speed in terms of time to solution in that automation journey, but it also enables you to do that at scale, because you don't have to build all these connections to systems yourselves. And it also unlocks or helps another audience within most organizations to work on automation tasks as well, because it's not primarily an IT task anymore, because with the help of the platform plus the connectors, it's truly efficient, truly scalable, and even end users can work on automating tasks with simple drag and drop exercises. So what you see here on the screen is just an example of how can we build a flow that invokes AI models to then make this an automated process based on outcome of that machine learning model. And I think here you can see on the screen is a good example of triggering event here is an email that arrives, right? But then we invoke the AI platform of Microsoft, which lives on Azure, and again spans the entirety of your heterogeneous data estate, if you will. And so here we can make sure that we leverage existing models and onboard models pretty fast, because next to the automation, there's a fair chance there's already some good models that's been implemented in the organizations that we want to leverage as part of the automation flows. And so here in that example, we just leverage an existing machine learning model, and then we route it based on the confidence that that model returns as a result of the input parameters we get into the model. So you see, it's pretty straightforward in terms of once we have implemented the platform and we have laid the foundational work, if you will, then the true power of the platform comes into play. Especially interesting for a lot of customers is Power Automate whenever we talk about Dynamics 365, right? Because obviously, a lot of business processes are then already defined and implemented in Dynamics 365, but we can truly understand, especially if we look at some telemetry data, how these processes behave. And so approval processes are a good example here, right? One good example of this might be request for discount in a sales organization, right? Which typically is pretty cumbersome across the board and has multiple approval steps, and so it takes a long time to actually get a discount approved in a lot of organizations. But with some intelligence that we infuse into that process, we can reduce the effort that it takes, and we can reduce the number of approval steps that might be necessary, because when we look at customer history, similar patterns in terms of discounts across other customers in the same bucket, we might not even need 5 approval steps in a specific instance. It might be just 2, right? And so that automation then really plays to the strengths of the data that already lives in Dynamics, plus the data that lives outside of Dynamics that we add to the process in order to inform the automation flow here. And it's just the seamless integration between Dynamics and then the Power Automate platform and the Microsoft platform in general. It's just a big plus for most of our customers, because it helps them to get going fast, right? It helps them to automate a lot of processes in a short amount of time, which then really helps to drive the return of investment in such platform. And especially, Microsoft 365 for everything that is not kind of like, in a back end or front office process, right? A lot of the processes that we have in organizations is somewhat implemented in Microsoft Office 365, right? Could be just an Excel, could be a Microsoft Teams application, could be a combination of those. But basically everything that is not hyper-structured, for the most part, lives in Microsoft 365. And I think that's where a lot of the automation potential can be harvested, right? Because we have all the elements, as in that's the typical UI where these users are, participating in a specific process. And so by seamlessly integrating the automation capabilities in Microsoft Office 365, Microsoft Teams is part of it, for example, we really have the opportunity to also address the automation of processes that are not typically addressed in the first batch, because for the most part, companies often start by automating the processes they might have in their ERP system, in their CRM system. But there's estimates like in some workforces that up to 70% of the processes are somewhat loosely defined and then used, for the most part, Microsoft 365 to support it, right? So you can see the potential is if you actually leverage the Microsoft 365 adoption, but then bring automation to it, right? Because all these smaller processes have a lot of potential for automation, but typically are not tackled because it's kind of hard, to understand what the true process flow is, when it's loosely coupled process across multiple, Office 365 programs. And I think that is the true power of the platform, that we have that close integration, with the Microsoft Office 365 stack. That will help organizations, leverage automation far above and beyond what is typically considered to be low-hanging fruits in automation. So if we look at what we would call the attributes, right, in automation, it's such a diverse scenario for the most part, right? We need to make sure we capture, all the triggers that we are able to scale to the edges there, right? And that could be just from a simple UI, it could be from a cloud application, could be from a Microsoft Office document, or it could be, from a process that lives within Microsoft Dynamics 365. And so that we support all these triggers as part of the platform will truly help scale the automation efforts to every business process out there, right? The seamless integration, we already talked about that. And then making it easy and fast to do this, right? With the connectors, we talked about that, but also like templated actions, right? So how can we make sure we drive automation at scale? Is through connectivity, that we embrace the heterogeneous world that's out there, but also make sure we have the right actions predefined so that you can innovate fast on the Power Automate platform. I'm just conscious of time here a little bit. I think Microsoft, just to wrap this up real quick, and we probably would need a bit more time to go into the details of this and share more use cases, right, going forward. But I think the story and the narrative I want to land with you today is that Microsoft has the power really embedded across our clouds, right? So a lot of customers have started working with Azure. We have a strong Microsoft 365 footprint out there, and we have a lot of Dynamics customers. And if you want to bring these worlds together and drive automation at scale, then the Power Automate platform from Microsoft will be a good fit for most customers.
Thank you very much, Jens. I think it is very useful for all our participants to understand the end-to-end view of the automation platform and the combination that you explained. Thank you again. And now we invite Diana Galbinasu from SAP to explain the SAP automation capabilities and use cases. In her role as Platform Innovation Executive, Diana is committed to driving innovation that leverages the combination of the latest business process management, digital bots, and process analysis technologies, enhanced with AI. Welcome, Diana. The screen is yours.
Hello, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today and for asking us to join this great event. I'm glad to have the next 20 minutes to share with you the latest enhancements to SAP Intelligent RPA and how it can help you build business resilience during these uncertain times, and not only, actually. As the nice introduction from our host here today, I'm Diana Galbinasu, and I work as Platform Innovation Executive at SAP in Central and Eastern Europe. And this gave me a chance to work closely with customers who decided to use new technologies to upgrade their businesses and increase revenue and efficiencies. Without any further introduction, I will let the colleagues from the technical department to share the video about SAP vision for process automation, and then we will continue with some details.
You have experienced SAP Intelligent Robotic Process Automation, the smart combination of RPA and machine learning technologies. So it's the natural next step to enable all employees in your company to build and run bots for their processes using Intelligent RPA. That means, in addition to traditional bot developers with a deep understanding of technology, you can give automation power also to medium-skilled coders and pure business users with no coding background but functional expertise. SAP Intelligent RPA 2.0 is a totally new experience of a bot design, with its Cloud Studio focusing on simplification, intuitiveness, and efficient automation building. Easily capture applications, pages, and controls, and assemble them to build end-to-end automations. Use the visual programming capabilities to parameterize and control complex steps in business workflows. No need to install software on your local machine anymore for assembling automations across applications, but having the freedom to still use the desktop agent on any machine in combination with the Cloud Factory for heterogeneous settings consisting of native applications and web applications. Take the next step in automating any component of your IT landscape with SAP Intelligent Robotic Process Automation 2.0.
So, just a moment. So, as you have seen, this is how we see the future with a holistic approach to process automation. But at the moment, we have seen many enthusiasts of the technology, which is really nice to hear. Unfortunately, they often see RPA as a band-aid rather than a scalable solution. So if RPA is applied in this way, the long-term costs of added complexity can actually outweigh the short-term benefits that companies hope to realize. So process excellence, however, in our opinion, is considering people, processes, and technology in the mapping of change. So this is how we believe the landscape of RPA is changing, and organizations are realizing the need for a more sophisticated approach to delivering automation. When we think about process automation, we would like to start with finding the answer to one very important question: what to automate? And this discovery can be done by using process mining solutions like the one from our partner, Celonis. And once we discover what to automate, for instance, you would like to actually automate what you have discovered and do multiple channel integration, for instance, to make automation more efficient, or to use AI for reducing manual activities further. And finally, to continuously monitor and control what you have automated. For doing all this, SAP has a rich portfolio addressing those particular aspects of automation journey, and this is the business technology platform. So to achieve process excellence and augmented human intelligence, businesses must embark into the journey of hyper-automation and take into consideration also the virtual circle of understanding, improving, automating, and monitoring the processes. And customers globally are already achieving high efficiency, also high speed and compliance with a quick return of investment by easily adopting SAP Intelligent RPA. Using our solution, businesses can bring automation to all processes. Doesn't matter the industry, for instance, record to report, plan to production, hire to retire, and lead to cash. But when considering automation, there are certain industries and fields that come to mind almost instantly when we are thinking about this. And this is, for example, shared services, customer services, financial departments, operations, and data management. But the truth is, in any business, no matter the industry, we could find at least one scenario that could be benefit from the added value of RPA. So let's look at some hyper-automation examples from our customers and see some of their benefits, which in our case include a significant reduction of manual effort in finance with attended RPA, gaining the ability to restart systems 100% autonomously using chatbots and robotic process automation. And we've seen this request a lot during this pandemic. Savings of more than 5,000 hours by launching, for instance, in our customer case, 22 projects with SAP Intelligent RPA services that downloaded the external open market information and created sales orders. Also automated 24/7 sales order processing, freeing up to 20 employees from manual tasks and turning 4 days of work into 10 minutes tasks. So this is something that our customers achieved, and it's also room for you to try. You can find also more details about this and many other success stories on our website and in our community blog. But let's look also in some examples with some clear step-by-step description of some of the solutions and the bots that we have implemented. So one of the processes specific to consumer products business is a trade promotion. So in a crowded and competitive omnichannel marketplace, businesses need to ensure that their trade promotion plan is accurate to predict and fast respond to the right promotions. And if we are looking at the steps here, we see that the analytics engine is based on data inputs, prepares the trade promotion. Then, of course, this is an attended use case, being very sensitive. The marketeer needs to approve and amend the trade promotion plan. Then the bot comes to action, and it sets the promotion plan in the system, including objective, total spend, and other details, reads the email for incoming financial claims. Then any exceptions to the claims need to be addressed again manually by the user that is attending this bot. But then again, for each promotion, the bot generates the daily performances report and sends it to for feedback to the necessary stakeholders. Another use case can be in discrete industry, and let's be honest, this industry is known to be excited about robotics, and they are in a unique position with the rapid adoption of Industry 4.0 framework. So adding hyper automation to this, they will move towards an ideal situation of producing a lot at the scale, let's say, and serving customers with new business models. So in this case, we have the product maintenance automation, where the IoT alert is triggering the workflow to raise a service ticket to replace a high value part. And the bot is logging into the system, checking the availability, and if not available, it will create a purchase order to acquire the respective component. And then it creates the service request towards service provider to go and replace the part. Of course, the workflow will send notification that the job has been, when the job is completed, and in the end, the bot will raise the invoice to customer and process all the payments to vendor and service provider. In the oil and gas industry, the breadth of energy and natural resources industries make it unique, if we can look at it this way, because we can consider that it has the flavor of many industries within one category. And an example for this industry can be, for instance, the energy or commodity trading and accounting, where the workflow is initiating the trade settlement process. Then the bot uses agreements and transaction data to carry out settlements in the system. Of course, if there is an exception, it needs to be addressed by a human being, the user that is administrating the process. And after this is, the exceptions are addressed, the bot picks up and enters the data into the system. And then further raises invoices and sends emails and runs the report to send all the information to the important stakeholders. But of course, we are talking about SAP Intelligent RPA. So of course, we have also some examples that are designed especially for our systems. So in this case, we are talking about the updates that are manually executed based on physical inventory documents generated in S/4HANA. And the SAP Intelligent RPA bot generates the physical inventory count lists based on the PI documents in the S4 system into a template. And once this template is filled up after counting, the template will then be handed to the next RPA to post inventory updates into production. And these kind of examples are also coming with some predefined templates for the bots. So for our systems, you will see also later in the presentation, we have many advantages that you can take benefit from. But the SAP Intelligent RPA can work perfectly fine also in situations where no SAP system is in place. For example, during this pandemic, we have automated the payment application for reduced working hours compensation due to the coronavirus pandemic. And we had to collect and upload data from third-party systems, and no SAP system was involved. So in economically calmer period, the Office of Economy and Labor in Zurich would receive about 10 requests for payments for reduced working hours every month. But in March only, they received 30,000 applications. You can imagine there was an overload and they needed to do something to act on it fast. And this is where we came in, and in just 2 weeks, we managed to implement the bot that processed all those applications with reduced efforts up to 85%. So the compensation reached the applicants quickly and in time. These are some of the examples that I chose to share with you today, but of course, you can find many others in our booth. So the past approach to automation had, let's say, more developer-oriented tools and fragmented solution space with limited integration between BPN, RPA, chatbots, and other technology. But we acted on our vision, and now we combine these technologies to achieve hyper-automation with process excellence towards advanced decision-taking and self-learning bots. So we built our tools to address both citizen developers who need low-code and no-code platforms, as well as expert developers, putting the system integration as one of our top priorities. So when we acquired Contexters and included it in our portfolio as a SAP Intelligent RPA, we had the vision to develop a tool and adapt it to fit perfectly the SAP ecosystem. And this is what we have today. And we have a team that is continuously working on new features to make our customer businesses more efficient. And I can mention some developments in areas like hyper-automation, for instance, native integration with SAP Intelligent BPM, dedicated connectors to SAP UI5 and SAP GUI, and integration with our chatbot, SAP Conversational AI, and other chatbots as well. Developer experience enhancements include the no-code experience and event-based capture for bot building. And what is maybe one of the most important things I can say to know is that there are plenty of bot templates for SAP S/4HANA and ECC, and also cross-LOB content and SAP best practices as prepackaged bots available on SAP Intelligent RPA store that are waiting for you to discover them. Another strength of the SAP RPA, and the one that I was mentioning a few times already, has been in the areas of automating SAP's own applications, because now we have more than 123 pre-built best practices bots. And the number is, trust me, it's only going up monthly. And these bots can be easily reused as plug and play to speed up development of bots for standard SAP processes. And the average time is around 1 day to implement if we use just the standard process. So the SAP Intelligent RPA solution contains also API triggers framework, which simplifies the integration with business process management solution. This is combined with UI-based bot access and APIs-based orchestration. So if you can imagine, this is where SAP Intelligent RPA is trying to overarch human to system and system to system integration for a complete end-to-end digital process execution. And this is what we aim with process excellence. And another important feature is the connectors that I already mentioned that actually make a difference when developing in context of SAP solutions. And we are calling connector the technology which allows you to drive an application with a robot. And the connector will translate the actions you want to perform, for instance, like click, open a tab, navigate in a tab, table, and any other aspect of an SAP GUI system, in this case, into the appropriate technical language. And you'll be able to access all of the objects and very complex objects from the SAP GUI interface and use deep recognition criteria to create your robotic object library. Of course, besides the SAP connectors, we have also the usual connectors for developing with PDFs, Excels, and other applications that are most common in these RPA processes. All these tools have a positive impact on the development process with more modular programming. Reusability of code is easier, and drag and drop items that generate written code are easier to use. And if you have heard from some other people that maybe our tools need some coding, well, what I can say is that these drag and drop tools generate the coding behind. And now we have even more accuracy, and we worked a lot to improve this. So the moment that you are dragging and dropping the elements into your flow, it will generate the code behind. And only if you want to do some more tricky and complex use cases, you need to, and you will have to look into that JavaScript code behind. And when it comes to choosing the commercial architecture, SAP Intelligent RPA is offering a great flexibility with commercial options to license and adopt a solution on a consumption-based model. So what you have to remember after this session is that you can develop as many robots as you want and have as many developer users as you want to work on with the SAP Intelligent RPA tool with no added costs, having support for both attended and unattended scenarios. And our solution is an easy to adopt, secure cloud service, which can be implemented and operated remotely within few weeks from scratch. And part of the SAP Intelligent RPA product management team is focusing to continuously offer integration with SAP technology and the SAP product portfolio, enabling hyper-automation with infused AI and machine learning. So we will continue to add new pre-built content on our store, so stay tuned to see more about what will come next. But before wrapping up, I want to say something about the innovation of the SAP Intelligent RPA that are on our roadmap. And we are looking for accelerating time to value for automation and infusing AI capabilities to make automation smarter. But most importantly, innovations to add innovations that help you run enterprise-grade automations at scale. Before wrapping up, one more thing to say is that there are three main core principles of SAP Intelligent RPA. And these are the recommended integrated RPA solution for automating SAP solution applications. And I think we can agree on this one. And stable and efficient RPA, reducing implementation time and maintenance efforts. And last but not least, enabling hyper-automation with the extended business technology platform. If you are interested to find out more, I invite you to join our community with plenty of materials and access to our experts who will be there to answer any questions regarding the topic. And also, if you want to try it, you have access to the trial account and just take a look at all the pre-built bots that are in the SAP Intelligent RPA store. At the same time, if you want to find out more or contact us, in case you want to ask a question, just drop by our booth. And you can leave also your email if you want one conversation on the topic. Thank you so much for being here today, and stay tuned and you'll hear from us more on how to attain the process excellence. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Diana, very much. I think it was really insightful to see so many case studies, which shows the diversity of use cases that we can have for intelligent automation across various business divisions, but also across various industries.